Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Taya Brown. I am a business consultant here at the Temple SBDC. The Temple SBDC helps businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and training programs like you're joining with us for today. We're proud to be a part of a nationally accredited program of 1,000 SBDCs across the United States. You have joined us today for PA Business One Stop Shop. A follow-up email will be sent to all attendees within the next few business days with all the materials, such as the slide deck and recording. All attendees have been muted, but we do encourage you to post any questions that you may have in the Q&A, which will be answered at the end of the presentation. Now I'll turn over the floor to Lenora Appleby.
Thank you so much. So my name is Leora Appleby. I am with the Pennsylvania Business One Stop Shop office. I am the director of that office. I'm going to share a little bit about what we do in our office, some of the tools and resources that we have available for our entrepreneurs and business owners across Pennsylvania. And then I'm going to actually show you some demonstrations of the tools so you have a better awareness of them. So I am going to, and I will give you actually first a little background about me. So I am a graduate of Shippensburg University. And while I am not a business owner myself, I was an entrepreneur for a short time. I was a business consultant as an educational advocate. I have four siblings who are all business owners, so I get to talk to them a lot and hear different roadblocks and pain points from them. And I spend a lot of time traveling around Pennsylvania, doing webinars, or meeting in person to share the information that we have and the resources that we have available. So I'm really excited that all of you are here today. And I hope some of the information I can provide is valuable and will be helpful to you in the process, whatever place of the process you're in. So I'm going to share my screen. So just give me a quick second. Okay. So I already introduced myself and let you know that I am with the Pennsylvania Business One Stop Shop office. So, a little bit about our office. So, we were established in 2018 under the Business One Stop Shop Act 107. So, we do have a legislative act backing our office. It was created under the Wolf administration because there was the awareness that there are gaps in how to do business in Pennsylvania for our business owners. And one of the things that our state has is we don't have a general business license. You do file with the Department of State, but you have to license your business through various sibling agencies based on your business activities. So there's not just one license that you fill out and you're ready to go. You have to know a lot of different pieces to make sure that you're being compliant with registrations and licensing. So my office helps a little bit with that. We help businesses at all stages of development, whether you are just at the entrepreneurship phase, trying to formulate your idea and get started, to businesses that are expanding, merging, businesses that are scaling up, maybe extending out their one location to a second location or broadening things to e-commerce. So wherever you're at, we are available to help connect you to the partners across the state, the sibling agencies that you might need to work with, and just really help you have a broader awareness of the economic ecosystem that exists in Pennsylvania to help support your work that you're doing. So I always share this because I like individuals to know that we do collect data, and it is all anonymous data that we can collect. So if you reach out to my office, whether it's by email or by phone, my staff is going to be taking information down. For instance, if you tell them that you are an LLC or that you are a nonprofit or that you are a veteran-owned business or that you found us because someone told you to reach out to us, anything that has to do with how we can better serve you, they're taking notes. You will typically, if you give an email address, get a survey from us with 4 to 5 very short questions that basically ask, hey, was the individual you talked to friendly? Was the individual helpful? Did you find the information useful? Were we able to help with the issue that you were having? And we love when customers respond to that to let us know that, hey, it was helpful, or here's some additional pain points that we had so that we can kind of fix that process. And the information that we intake as we're responding to questions and concerns helps us know what kind of help guides might be useful to the individuals reaching out to us, where we might have gaps on our website, where we might be seeing pain points over at the Department of State or Department of Revenue, so that I can share those out with directors of those agencies to kind of help close those gaps and make things easier for individuals who are trying to file, for instance, their annual report. So the data is really helpful. It helps drive what we're doing. We're data informed, data driven. So when we are presenting the information that you're going to see, a lot of that has come from our interactions with business owners and entrepreneurs, as well as partners across the state. So one of the first things I would love for everybody to visit is our website. This was one of the very first things that was created for our office back in 2018, but it is not stagnant. So it has changed a lot over the years. We are constantly enhancing it. We are constantly working to make sure that it has the most up-to-date information available. When the website was created, we worked with partners like our friends at the SBDCs. We worked with sibling agencies, the Department of State, the Department of Revenue and Labor and Industry, as well as some other agencies, to make sure we had a lot of information on our site. So we have a lot of links that can take you to other agencies. We have a lot of links that can help you get to different partners that can help you with your business planning, or the Penn State Entrepreneurs Clinic, which can assist you with any maybe legal questions you have surrounding a lease if you're leasing a building from someone for your business. So the website has a lot of information. You're going to find a lot of information there, and we are constantly updating it. So we do quarterly QAs on it to make sure everything's working well. But we have somebody who's dedicated to just kind of going through our site and making sure that there's a lot of information and that everything's up to date. So if there's a broken link, we get those fixed very quickly. If we have new information coming in, for instance, BDSBO, which was the Bureau of Diversity, Inclusion, and Small Business Opportunities, recently rebranded their names so that they have expanded their office out. So they are BISD now, and I'm still getting used to the acronym, so forgive me. So it is, they have a new name, and we're trying to get that formulated on the site as quickly as possible, working with their team so that everybody has up-to-date information and knows who they're connecting with and who they're reaching out to. Our 1-800 number, this is something I recommend. If you have this number, you're going to be able to reach my office at option 5, but you're also going to be able to connect to the Department of State through option 1 and 2, the Department of Revenue, option 3, and Labor and Industry through option 4. Now, I'm sure you've noticed I've mentioned Department of State, Department of Revenue, and Labor and Industry several times. They are considered our core partners when our office was formed, because those are the 3 agencies you are most likely going to be doing work with as you're registering your business. If you don't need a special license from, say, Department of Agriculture or Department of Health or Department of Environmental Protection, you're going to be still filing your business with Department of State. You're definitely going to be filing your taxes with Department of Revenue. Even if you don't have employees, you will still be doing some things with Labor and Industry. So you'll be able to reach out to them through there. And if they aren't able to, say there's a really long wait time with Department of State, and you bounce over to our option 5, we may be able to help you. We typically can answer about 77% of the calls and emails that we get, even though they might be for other agencies or partners, because we have a lot of information at our fingertips. But further through the slides, you'll see there are certain things we can't help with. But keep this on hand. If you need to talk to a person, you don't need to remember a lot of phone numbers. You just need to have this one, and you're going to be able to get in touch with the 3 main agencies that you're most likely going to be doing business with when you're doing business in Pennsylvania. So this is the business checklist. And if you haven't seen this yet, I encourage you to look at it, fill one out. It doesn't matter where you're at in your journey as a business owner or entrepreneur. It has various options, but it's going to give you a breakdown of everything you need to do to make sure you are doing the correct registration steps based on your business activity. So if you need to expand your business, it's going to give you a checklist based on that. If you're just starting, it's going to give you a checklist based on that. And it also gives you the local municipality that you register with. And, if you are in, I know most of you may be in the Philadelphia area, you're going to be working with Philadelphia very directly. They have some very strict and set permitting that needs to happen when you're doing business in Philly. But if you are outside of the Philadelphia area, you might be in an area where they don't require the same registration processes. So you need to know that, and you need to know who to connect with to make sure you are doing what you need to do based on where that business activity is going to be happening. So we're able to give you that. And to bring an awareness, there are 2,560 municipalities, boroughs, and cities in Pennsylvania, and each has the ability to create their own permitting processes. So it's really important to know that where you're doing business, you're following everything you need to do from the local level up. So the checklist is something that can really help with that. So our business hub, this is a application that acts as a portal. So you will be utilizing the hub to get to business filing services. I'll be showing you a little later on how we've created a lot of quick action buttons that can really help you get to where you need to go when you're filing with the Department of State. But there's also a lot of other information in the hub. And one of the things that the hub offers that a lot of individuals don't always utilize is if you set up a business profile, you are able to store your documents there. So your registration documents, your licensing documents, any permitting documents, you can save those digital copies in the hub. It's secure, it's a government secured website, and it's free. We don't charge anything for you to do that, but you'll have everything on hand. So this is important, especially if you're going to the bank, because say you're going to scale and you're looking to find some capital to help do that, the bank's going to ask you for a lot of paperwork and a lot of questions surrounding your filing and formation documents. And gathering those up can be a little overwhelming. And if you have not saved things that you filed with the Department of State, you're going to have to repurchase copies of those. So I always tell people utilize this, and you can actually share this if you have a business partner, if you have an accountant, if you have a business manager, they can have an account in the hub, and you can share documents between each other, and you can set the permission level that they have to access documents that are in your portal. So it's a really wonderful resource. It doesn't just connect you to the Department of State, it offers a lot of other opportunities, which I'll be showing you once we get down a little further out in the slide presentation. So our help center, this is one area I recommend everybody bookmark. We are constantly updating it. We're constantly enhancing it. We have about 100 pieces of help information here, from funding guides to licensing guides to the Find Business Experts section, which will really help you locate where you who you might need to help with. Say you want to get into government contracting and you need some help with that, we can connect you with the Apex Accelerator in your area that could be useful and help in that area. So this is a really great resource, and you don't need to have an account in the Business Hub to access it. So it's available pre-login and post-login. So anybody has availability to it. Our office is a digitally accessible office. We have been for several years. We typically rank about 97% in our digital accessibility, which means if you need to utilize a JAWS reader or anything like that, if you have visual impairments, that should work pretty smoothly through our systems. We also have the ability to translate through a plugin. So over 100 languages. There is translation tools available on our website and our business hub and our help center. So regardless of what needs you may have, we should be able to assist you. And of course, if there's ever anything that you do need additional help with, reach out to our office. Let us know that there's an accessibility concern for you on your side, and we'll do our best to help make sure you get the information in the best way that you need it for yourself. So we also have a newsletter if you're interested. It's a quarterly newsletter. You can sign up on our webpage. There's also an email at the end that you can reach out to, and we can get you signed up if you don't want to do that through the webpage. We provide basic updates on here. We give some business tips. We kind of give shout outs to different resource partners to make people aware that they are and exist and available across the state. We also share some of the things we've been doing in our office, some of the events we've attended, where we've been, and let people know that we are always willing to consider different events to attend if we can be helpful in providing resource information. Um, so if you're interested, I recommend it. We also give out all of the tax filing deadlines that businesses need to know at the end of our newsletter. So you don't have to search for those. We have those based out on a quarterly basis. So this is the piece that I told you. These are some of the things that we cannot do. So we can't file any kind of licensing or business filing on your behalf. We can't write business plans. We can't get into back end agency systems. So if you filed with the Department of State and you're wondering where that application is in the process, we can't help with that. You'd have to reach out directly to Department of State. We cannot tell you if it's better for you to file as an LLC or as a sole proprietor. We can't give you any kind of operations advice. I like to say we're like a library, and we are the subject matter experts on all the subject matter experts in the state. So think of us as the librarians that can get you where you need to go, because for the things that we can't do, we can get you in the right direction. So if you needed help with business planning, we would get you to one of the small business development centers. If you were looking for a peer-to-peer business mentor, we would connect you with SCORE. You know, if you're getting into government contracting, we would connect you to the office in the state that helps with that. If you're looking to do business with the Commonwealth, if you're looking to grow out to be a federal contract um, supplier, we can get you connected to individuals that can help with that process. So we can answer some basic things. We can answer a lot of different questions, but when it comes to the specific processes of doing things like creating your business plan or filing the paperwork, we would get you directed to the individuals who could truly help with that. So this is my current team. We typically have a team of four. My administrative officer just left, so she's not on here. But Francine and DJ are the two individuals you will most likely be talking to if you reach out to our resource account, um, or if you call the 833 number. So they are both really great. I like to say experts, even though technically we're not experts, but they know what they're doing. DJ has a background with Department of Revenue. Francine has a background with Policy and Department of State. So they already come with some knowledge behind them for some of the processes. And over the years, they've heard a lot of small little licensing issues that people have run into. So typically they can always help. And if they don't know the answer to something, they are both excellent researchers at finding it. So I'm really confident in my team. They are a treasure, always super grateful for them, always like to shout them out to everybody. If you ever have a question that can't be answered through our help guides or the business checklist or our website, don't hesitate to reach out. I always recommend email. It will be answered a lot quicker, but we answer our phones and our emails typically the same day. Now we have up to a 72-hour period that sometimes it will take us that long depending on the day, but staff typically answers everything the same day. If you get a voicemail, please don't be afraid to leave the voicemail. I know that can be scary because you think it's not going to be answered. My team does get back to you, but because there's only two of them, and there are days when there's only one person answering the calls, if they're on another call, that voicemail is going to pick up and grab that call. So leave the voicemail. They will get back to you. Um, so you're going to get all this information at the end. So hopefully you will save it and have it available. But at this point, I want to get into some of our tools. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a minute. And I'm going to, I have three screens, so give me a second to get everything up and running. And I'm going to share another screen with you. Oops. Are you guys seeing my presentation or are you seeing my new screen?
The new screen is up for the PA Gov website.
Okay, good. So this is the website I was telling you about. This is one of the first stops I tell you to make. So we have things lined out, whether you're planning, registering, operating, or growing your business. So if you go to growing your business, you're going to see that we have information here for e-commerce, if that's something you're interested in, becoming a government supplier. If you're in a small, diverse business structure, we have that broken down as well. So you have the information you need to get where you need to go to be successful. I always like to mention, if you are a veteran-owned business, there are fee waivers in place for veterans who have businesses in Pennsylvania. So make sure that you are checking everything out before you do your filing, because when you file with Department of State, they do not issue refunds. They have a blanket rule on that. So if you were to file your $125 fee for an LLC and that could have been waived, that is not something that's going to be retroactive. So you want to make sure that you have like your DD 214 ready to upload before you file that. So this gives a lot of information in those areas. We also have a link out to the hub here. So it makes it very easy to find. And this is already logged in, and I may need to log in again. It depends. But I want to show you the Help Center. So on the Help Center, you'll see that we have various licensing guides that are available. And these are really useful because we've gone through, and that's through some of the survey information that we receive, when we see that a lot of people are calling about a cleaning business and asking about licensing. Let me just log out and log back in real quick. Then we can kind of present this so that it's really accessible. Because one thing we recognize in our specific office is most of our entrepreneurs and business owners are not able to connect with us between the hours of 8 and 4 p.m., which is when we are available via phones and emails. A lot of times it's weekends, 2 in the morning. So we want to have as much information as possible out there so that if you can find the answer when you're looking for it, you're going to be able to do that. And if not, you're going to be able to reach out to us and really ask specifically for what you need so that we can get back to you. But the Help Center also has this piece right here, this Find Experts business section. And we are getting ready to update this into a little bit of a new format, but you're still going to have all of the same available information. So if we go down into our county areas, so let's pick Philadelphia County. And you'll see that it's the Temple SBDC, which you are connected with right now. We have the Philadelphia SCORE office, the Southeast Pennsylvania Apex Accelerator, which helps with contracting if you're getting into government contracting. Our Ben Franklin Tech Partners in Southeastern Pennsylvania. We have our prep partners for Chester County Economic Development Council. We have the WTC of Philadelphia. We have our Industrial Resource Center. You'll just see we really try to get all of this information out. And this was our newest update, is our Historically Disadvantaged Business Assistance Program that was just implemented through the DCED, where I work, Department of Community and Economic Development, was one of Governor Shapiro's initiatives. So these centers are now up and operating. So you were able to reach out to that office with questions if you were to qualify under that. Now that's more for technical assistance and things like that. So if you own a business that's offering technical assistance and things like that, you may qualify for that, and they're able to help a little bit more with that. But we have business licensing guides. Like I said, we also have help guides. So if you need to learn how to create a business profile in the hub, we're going to take it step by step for you so you don't have to figure that out on your own. We really try to take the guesswork out of doing business in Pennsylvania and also just figuring out all of the basic information that you might need when you're setting up an account. We really value your time. We know that it's important and you don't have a lot of it when you're a business owner and an entrepreneur. So we try to help as much as possible. Now, if we go to the hub, one thing I will say is at the top, we always have what's called the carousel, which will take you to all of the important information. Um, Annual reports right now, if you are a business owner, you're going to want to make sure that you have your annual report filed. I've been mentioning that this has been something that was implemented under the Wolf administration, but if last year was the first year that it actually was in process where individuals filed their annual report. This is the second year. So individuals, if they're not filing their annual report timely, what's going to happen is next year, if annual reports are not filed, you're going to get a 6-month warning before they administratively dissolve the business. Now, if you are a resident of Pennsylvania, you will have the option, even if you somehow get administratively dissolved, to get everything back up and running. I think there's a $15 fee with the $7 each year fee because it's a $7 fee each year to do your annual report. And the way they got that number was it used to be $70 to file what was called a decennial report, which happened every 10 years. They've just shifted it down to make sure it's every 1 year. There are certain exemptions. Nonprofits don't have to do it. Municipalities don't have to do it. If you are a sole proprietor, you don't have to do one. And I will show you shortly what button to look for if you haven't filled one out and you might need to do that. But we give that information here. So you want to be able to make sure that you're staying up to date with everything that's required by the state for you to do. This lets you know that they've been completing filings within 1 to 3 days. And I can tell you, this is really great. I know it can be sometimes frustrating to wait, but right after COVID, I came into the office in 2021. They were at a 45-day-ish wait period to get filings processed. So they've really worked hard to get that moved up and get things out quickly, and they're doing a really great job of that. So these are some of the buttons. Whatever you're doing, this is going to help get you where you need to go. So say I am a business owner and I need to file my annual report. I go in here. It tells me everything I need to know about filing annual reports. And it also gives me a button that's going to click me and single sign me right into the business filing services at Department of State, so I don't have to do a secondary login. And it's going to take me to the page I need to do when I'm doing my annual report. So say I'm filing for my annual report. So this is one of the local businesses, and this is all public information. So anybody can always look up your business and see this basic information. But when you do this, you're going to log in here and you can see right here, this is the button for filing your annual report. It also lets them know that their annual report for this year is overdue. If you log into your business and you do not see this button, you have either already filed your report for the year or you are exempt from filing your report. If you see this button, you need to file your report. And while there are different deadlines for you to file your report by, every year when January 1st hits, it's going to reset the system and you can file your report. It's very quick and easy. It's going to ask you for very basic information. It's going to ask you for name, address. If you're a nonprofit, your filing is going to be free, but it's going to ask for things like who your officers are. It's going to ask everybody who the governor of your business is. That's going to be the person who makes the decisions for your business. So if you're a business owner, that's you. And then you're just going to submit that form. So make sure you have that. And like I said, this is the key way to know. So if you do not have this button, you don't need to file. If you do have it, you need to file. And I recommend to everybody that you just tie that into when you do your taxes, because if you have a deadline to do taxes by a certain time at the beginning of every year, just do your annual report at that time too. And so you don't have to remember so many dates because as soon as January 1st hits, you can file your annual report for the new year and you're good to go. So that's one of the ways that our tools here can kind of help you get you to that place. The other thing that the tools do are these are other quick navigation buttons. So these can help you with other pieces that you might be doing while doing business in Pennsylvania. So this is a checklist, and I'm going to show you how to do that piece next. So we'll come back to this in just a quick minute. But down here we have a network portal. So these are all of the agencies you might be doing business with in when you're doing business based on your business activity. And you can choose who you want to show up here. So you can go in, show more systems, show more agency websites, but we have things laid out to make it very easy for you so you don't have to do that search work at all. And then this is the checklist. So the checklist does function hand in hand with the business hub, but if you don't have a business hub address, that's okay too. But if you do, you're going to be able to kind of do things right from the website. So I am going to take you through, this is a checklist, and I'm not going to take you through the whole checklist, but what you would do is say you're just starting a new checklist for your business. You just type that name in, whatever name you want to call your checklist. This is all information that's just for you. So nobody's going to be looking at this. So really look at this as a tool to help you. This isn't going to file anything on your behalf. This isn't going to be anything that's shared with another agency. So this is strictly a list for you. So say you're starting a new business in Pennsylvania. You only need to put in your zip code. And I live in Franklin County, so I'm in South Central Pennsylvania, and our county seat is Chambersburg, so I'm going to use that zip code. And then this is where people can get a little hung up, and it can be a little nerve-wracking because there's something called a NAICS code, an NAICS code. These codes come from census data when people fill out their census. So these are not codes that are determined by our state. These are looked at from a broad national level. And what they do is help understand what area of business you're going to be doing. So the state does utilize that when you file your business to kind of assign a code in their system to you to know where your business activity is going to be. But when you're in this area, don't be afraid if you don't see the exact thing that you are doing because a NAICS code is going to be very general. So it might not have what's listed. Just pick what's closest to your business activity. And that's going to help guide our checklist to give you what you need as far as filing with other agencies in the state based on your licensing. So if I want to do a bakery, you'll see that it comes up with lots of various pieces here. And these last three digits are always what changes. The first three are typically the same for business activity. So just say I'm going to be making that. Am I going to have employees? And then you're going to get to this. It's going to ask if you're going to do any of this because the Department of Revenue likes to know because they have very specific taxes based on things. If I don't know, I'm going to click I don't know. That's okay too. I don't have my FEIN yet because I've just started this idea of wanting to have a business and I want to learn more. And I don't really know what I want to be yet. So I'm going to click I don't know. So it's just going to keep taking you through these steps. It's going to ask for your legal name. So you can see it's going to pop up and say, okay, that name looks like it's available right now. Now that could change based on when you file because maybe somebody else is going to grab that name. But if we see, it's going to tell me for a fact if a name's not available. So that's really helpful too, so that you can kind of have that planning on hand. And then what you're going to get at the end is a checklist. And the checklist is going to tell you, I always pick areas in Franklin County because that's what I'm familiar with. So this is an area in Franklin County called Monalto. It's a very small little area. So this tells me that I need to connect with somebody named Patty Steitley. that I want to do a business and create a business in that municipality. And it gives me all the contact information, so I don't need to look that up. Um, it's going to tell me the things, these are pre-registration steps that I need to kind of complete. These are registration steps. So it's telling me that my name's currently unavailable, so I'm going to have to rethink that. It's telling me based on mine, it can't tell you whether you should register for an FEIN or not. If you're going to have a bank account with your business, you're going to want to register for that. Sometimes people think they only need to get that number if they're going to have employees or be doing different business activity. Um, it's always a good idea to really talk to your business consultant, obviously, but there's very few cases where you don't want to have that number because you wouldn't be using it. Typically, most people are going to have that number. Now, because this was an apiary for bees, it's letting me know based on this, I'm going to have to connect with the Bureau of Plant Industry to figure out that I have some licensing I might need to do with them. It's telling me how to register on MyPath. And then it's giving me the conclusion down here talking about annual reports. This requirement has been discontinued by the federal government, but we always like to keep it in there just in case that could shift at any time. And then it gives us the funding webpage, the small business development centers, lets individuals know about the Veteran Business Outreach Center because they're very useful, especially if you're a veteran, they can be very specific in helping. And the Office of Small Business Advocate. And then it gives you our phone number. So you'll see that I saved this here. This is in the hub. So I already finished this one. I want to mark it complete. So when I do that, it's going to mark my step complete on the checklist. So it's just a really useful and helpful tool to have. And I highly recommend that everybody does a business checklist. No matter where you're at, because it's just going to give you that roadmap, and roadmaps are important. And I'm sure if you've been in consulting with your SBDC at Temple, they're letting you know that having a roadmap for your business is really important. Having that business plan, having the steps that you need to do to register, having things in place so that you know the direction you're going, that's going to help you be really, really successful. And as an entrepreneur or a current business owner, you want to really just lean into gaining as much knowledge as you can and as many resources as you can. And one thing I will let you know about Pennsylvania is we have a really active network of partners and individuals within our sibling agencies that are really available to help give you information and tools that you need to kind of help take that frustration out of things, because it can be really tricky and difficult to navigate all the different things you need to do, and you don't have to do it on your own. My office exists solely to help get you connected to the right people, to help give you information, to give you all the tools that you need so that you don't have to spend all the time searching for it. There's a lot of individuals, you guys are here, so you know about how wonderful the SBDC is. Not everybody knows that our small business development centers exist. So helping people know to get over to those SBDCs so they can really help you talk about your marketing plan, talk about your business planning, talking about maybe you have a great idea for a product and you think it's great, they're going to be able to really sit down and help you understand if you have a target audience that's going to be out there to purchase that product. And if not, how you might be able to shift your focus to move forward to find that audience that will maybe be into that product or one that is slightly adjacent to it. So really, really, the one thing I'd like everybody to take away from this is you do have resource support and you have a very active ecosystem of partners across the Commonwealth that are available to help answer questions, to help take some of the guesswork out of what you are trying to do, to kind of alleviate that burden from what you're doing to create a business, because it's really difficult to create a business and to put the hard work into it that you all do. That is something that I see people doing all the time, and I'm always in full admiration of it. Your days are not 9 to 5 days. They are typically 16 to 18-hour days, and you're working hard. So really utilize the tools we have, utilize my office to reach out to us, to ask us questions, to ask us to point you in the right direction, and to avoid any misinformation that might be out there on Google. Now, I will say a lot of the AI tools are really, really helpful, but sometimes they pull legislation in from other states, which can be very, very confusing. Let me stop sharing my screen really here. And you might not know that because it takes a trained eye to kind of see that, because there's some legislation that are similar, but they might be telling you something that you should be doing if you're in Ohio as opposed to Pennsylvania. And there's also those third party, I, I don't even know what to call them, businesses out there that, for instance, like LegalZoom, that will offer to help you file your business and do all of the paperwork and take everything out of it, but they charge you thousands of dollars for that when you can do it on your own. We have the tools to help you walk through that process. So you're only paying the $125 if you're an LLC, or the $70 if you are going to be a sole proprietor, helping get you over to the licensing to make sure that you file that way. Because every dollar is really important when you're a business owner. So we want to make sure that you're utilizing your funds in the best way possible. So that is my presentation. I want to make sure we leave plenty of time for questions. And you can ask me questions based on the presentation I shared if you have additional questions, based on other pieces of maybe business, questions you might have about, well, just feel free to ask any question that you might have. And if I don't have an answer, I will certainly find out however I can to try to get you that answer, after the presentation's over.
Thank you, Lenora, for the presentation. While you guys are putting your questions in the Q&A, I will be linking in a survey that is required by our funders. It allows us to continue to present these webinars and get your feedback. So that will also be in the chat box, and then it will also be sent in the follow-up email.
And Taya, are they going to have the ability to use their microphone to ask questions, or is it just,
It's
um,
just Q&A chat
okay,
without the abilities to unmute.
I see Jerry Andre has a question. Um,
I do see a question from Spring Greenlee.
okay.
The question is, can you give a brief overview of how the resources available through BOSS differ from those available through our local SBDC?
Yes. So what typically happens is our job at the Business One Stop Shop is we have to have an overview of every possible resource available across various industries, across the state, across our sibling agencies. So I know a lot of our SBDC partners reach out to us and refer people back to us to be able to assist, because the SBDCs are really focusing on helping you hone business plans, helping you as you're going through filing and doing some of that. But there are other questions that we can certainly help answer. What you're going to see is there's a lot of overlap between all of the partnerships across Pennsylvania. One thing we are able to do from our side is, say you see that button to click your annual report, but it's not letting you actually file the annual report, and you are struggling to do that. We have the ability on our side to reach out to the Department of State and say, hey, we have an issue with somebody who is having a problem filing their annual report. Who can we connect them with to get this fixed? So we're able to do that. I'm able to reach out across the agencies and really connect if there's pain points. Or, for instance, I was at another SBDC recently, and one of their clients was having an issue logging into the system. And I was able to share some of the pain points that are going on right now as systems are being updated for security purposes, and also just let them know that they can reach out to my team at any time and give them a direct connection there so that we can keep them up to date if they see that continuing to happen to kind of alleviate that frustration. Our tools are more broad and more statewide with various pieces in each of our regions. Your SBDC is going to really be able to help you locally, especially with some of those Philadelphia filings, things like that. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but what we do is we complement each other. So what we can't help with, we're going to send over, you're going to be doing a lot of the work with your SBDC. That's one of the first people we send individuals to because they can really lean in and they can really help with a lot of things. But for more general things, more basic information, our site's going to be able to maybe get you those link outs really quickly, especially if it's the middle of the night. So I'm hoping that answered your question a little bit. And if not, I can try to help a little bit more.
Thank you, Leora. And to also add to that, I'll also link to our website. That way you can get an idea of our services and compare the two to see which route you would like to go in. And the next question is from Natasha. Are there any links available on SPDC for grants, etc.? We If you would like to connect with a consultant, we can definitely assist with those. We don't disperse any funds directly through our department, but we are able to assist you with finding what's accessible for your business industry.
And just to circle back to that first question, if you're going to want the one-on-one counseling, we're going to be referring you to the SBDC. Ours is more like a library, a reference library. So we're able to connect those little bit of pain points, but we don't walk individuals through all the different steps. So that's something you're definitely going to want to connect to Temple to help with because they have amazing resources and economic specialists there that can really help with that.
Thank you.
And then I'm seeing from Jerry, you're
Mhm.
asking about the affordable housing and RFP application process. So we have my specific office does not help specifically with that. Um, what I can tell you is we definitely, I don't know if you've seen Governor Shapiro's recent housing plan and housing initiative. That's not specific to Philadelphia, that is across the Commonwealth, obviously. Um, but any of the RFP application processes, when people ask us about those, we're going to basically put you in touch with that agency or that center that you are putting that application in with because they are going to be the experts on how they need that completed because they are the ones who have set those parameters. But if you need information on the housing plan, I can certainly do that. We also have in our agency community and housing. So they have different things that are going on their side of the building. I do know individuals over there. I don't know what your specific questions would be about it, but I'm happy to, if I'm able to, connect you to somebody who might be able to answer general questions if you have them. Yeah, just feel free to reach out to me via email, Jerry. And, I can't guarantee I can get you over at least in the general direction to see if somebody can kind of help with more specifics on your question.
And then we have another question. Is there a resource to get low-cost preliminary taxation assistance for business owners starting out?
So there's not really, those initiatives aren't really in existence. We don't have a lot of grants or tax incentives for small businesses that we've seen that are out there. Our funding guide does provide a pretty robust idea of the funding opportunities. A lot of those do require borrowing because they are lending, and a lot of those require a match. There are different times. What I will say is typically when grants or incentives become available, always start at your county and local level. and then look up from there, because if funding comes from the federal government to the state typically passes that down to each region to figure out how to best disperse those grants. Um, but yeah, it's tricky. Funding is one of those pain points for our entrepreneurs and business owners. And we do really try to keep a robust update of all the funding that we know that's out there, all the incentives we know that are out there. So refer to that funding guide on our business help center. And that's going to give you like a really robust overview of what we currently know is available. Now, I won't say we haven't missed some things, because I'm sure there are things that at a local level we might miss, but we do try to make sure that the information is there for you.
And just to follow up on that last question that you just answered, they wanted to clarify that the question is about learning what the required information is for filing taxes as a business owner
Gotcha.
with a tax consultant.
Okay, yeah. So when you do that, what we always say is you are definitely going to want to connect with a tax professional, because we can't give that advice, but what we can do is give you that breakdown of the basics of what you're going to need to do. So we do have the tax licensing guide. We have, I think, another, sorry, that's Department of Revenue, and DJ is my Department of Revenue person. So he is, I want to look really quickly here. So we have how to apply for your state business taxes, the tax exemption certificate if you qualify for that, the retailer's information guide, and the tax information guide. So those really break it down pretty intensely of what you might be responsible for from a tax perspective under the Department of Revenue's tax obligations. And then if you have basic questions, you can reach out and we can go through some of those with you to see, but we always recommend that you reach out to a tax professional and kind of utilize those professional resources that are available to you. If you have specific questions, sometimes some of the SBDCs will have like an individual who's a consultant that helps with that. Not always. So what I would suggest is research the tools that we have. If you have a specific question, just feel free to reach out to my office and ask it. If we cannot specifically answer it because we don't have that ability to do so because we aren't with revenue, we can get you to the right place to make sure that you're asking the individuals that can give you that qualified answer. I hope that answers that question.
All right, I'm not seeing any other questions at this moment. And again, we'll send a follow-up email with the slide deck, and you'll have access to all the links and emails as well as the recording as well.
Well, thank everybody for attending. And if you think of questions afterwards, or you just need any follow-ups on anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach my team directly at business.dced@pa.gov, which will be on there, or through the 833 number. And you can always reach out to me as well. I always recommend reaching out to my team first because I want to make sure you get answers quickly. And as I said, like I've been traveling heavily the past 2 weeks, so I always feel badly if you're asking a question and I don't get back to you quick enough. I'm still sifting through some emails. So reach out to that resource account and my team will get back to you really quick. And if it needs to be elevated up to me, they 100% will elevate it.
All right, thank you, Leora, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.